In the last decade, more than 150 people have had criminal convictions overturned in New York. But one convicted killer says his bid for exoneration is being inexplicably stalled. As the I-Team's Chris Glorioso reports, numerous eyewitnesses say they saw someone else pull the trigger. And a high-ranking official in the Brooklyn DA's office is on recorded audio suggesting the original investigation was flawed.
I got arrested, charged for crimes that I didn't do.
Brooklyn's Anthony Green says his case for exoneration is rock solid. He spent 27 years in state prison for the 1987 shooting of 𝗕𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗓𝗓 on this Ocean Hill sidewalk. But since then, Green has discovered a mountain of evidence police seem to have missed. The case against Green was based on testimony from two women, Cindy Presley and Vicki Colon. Colon at the time was pregnant with Green's child, and she gave detectives conflicting statements. In the first, she said on the night of the murder she was at her girlfriend's house and didn't see anything. But in the second, she said she was there and saw Anthony point his gun, shooting about 5 shots.
Why did she say those things?
She didn't know what to do. Remember her first response, apparently she told the truth, which most people do. But she changed up. She changed up because they threatened her.
Decades after Vicki Colon's testimony put the father of her child in prison, she died of cancer, but not before Colon signed sworn affidavits saying she lied at trial because police threatened to take away her unborn baby.
This was an orchestrated effort to lock somebody up who they prejudged as guilty.
Attorney 𝗕𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗓 represents Anthony Green and says Vicki Colon's recanting of her story is only part of the evidence suggesting someone else killed 𝗕𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗓𝗓. 4 eyewitnesses have now signed sworn statements saying a now deceased suspect named Little Rick Morrison was the triggerman who fired 5 to 6 shots at 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗓. Another said she saw Little Rick Morrison pull out a gun and shoot, and 2 sisters swore they saw Ricky point a large square-like gun and shoot 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗓. On top of all that, 4 years ago, Anthony Green enlisted Charles Linehan, a well-known wrongful conviction investigator who obtained this affidavit from Rick Morrison's father, Kevin Fields. In it, Fields says he believed his son killed 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗓. In light of all the new evidence, the Brooklyn DA Conviction Review Unit is re-examining Anthony Green's case.
With all this evidence that he has, what do we continue to wait for? It's almost been 40 years.
A spokesperson for Brooklyn DA Eric Gonzalez said his office is a national model for exonerating innocent convicts, and it's working diligently and collaboratively on Anthony Green's case, a complex reinvestigation which pertains to events from nearly 4 decades ago.
You have the Conviction Review Unit, which I think has great intention, but the problem is the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And even if there is good intention here now, he's still going through hell.
They know I ain't do that crime.
Anthony Green says there's one other extraordinary fact pointing to his innocence. Remember Charles Linehan, the investigator who uncovered the statement from Rick Morrison's dad? Linehan is now the head of the Brooklyn Conviction Review Unit, and recently he sent Green an audio recording of his re-interview of Cindy Presley, the one witness who has not recanted. At trial, Presley testified she saw Anthony Green get a gun and drive to the Ocean Hill street where 𝗕𝗢𝗓𝗓𝗓 was killed.
So let me just explain again. My name is Charlie Linehan.
In that interview, Presley said she now believes Little Rick Morrison could have been the killer.
You're sure Little Rick didn't kill 𝗕𝗢𝗓𝗓𝗓?
And one more thing. She said detectives back in the late 80s used a questionable tactic, putting her up in a hotel for weeks, while she says they coached her testimony.
And you said they took you to a hotel?
Yeah, I was in the hotel by the LaGuardia Airport.
How long were you in the hotel?
Maybe a couple of weeks.
And while you were there for those couple of weeks, did the police come in and talk to you?
They just prepped me for the court.
The I-Team was unable to reach Cindy Presley for comment. Likewise, we were unable to reach family of the victim in this case, 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓. In the last decade, the Brooklyn Conviction Review Unit has erased 37 wrongful convictions, most of them homicides. Anthony Green says his conviction should be next. Chris Glorioso, News 4, New York.